Adaaaaaa. Rope Break family, last night we had the go home show for Monday Night Raw. And for the past 2 weeks, I said, Raw was getting better. It really was. The shows, they weren't great, by any stretch of the means. They weren't comparable to NXT at all. But for Monday Night Raw standards, they were getting a little better. And then, of course, last night, they had to go in the complete opposite direction and gave us a dumpster fire of a go home show. But we're going to go over it all right here. But before we do, like always, I just want to thank all the new subscribers. We had tons of channel growth this week, bunch of new subscribers coming in. I want to thank each and every one of you. And, we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and we know you guys enjoy it, so thank you so much. So, let's get right into the show, because like I said, it was not good. I was expecting it to be better. Again, not expecting it to be great or anything, but better than what we got. And I was really not pleased with much of what we got last night. So, to start the show, Rollins, Murphy, AOP, that whole new group, they come out. Rollins tells the fans that we all played a small part in making him the man he is today, the Monday Night Messiah. And he thanks the fans for their support and their faith in him to lead Raw into the future. And he said he is in our debt. But he needs to thank someone specifically, and then he wraps his arm around Murphy, and he thanks Buddy Murphy for his bravery to join Rollins last week, and he states how Murphy is on the right side of history. And then we see highlights of the fist fight last week. They hype it up, make it seem like it was such a big dramatic fight, and this and that. And then Seth and Murphy hug, and he said that Murphy joined with them in the nick of time, and he says that Kevin and Joe's plan to take him out failed, but this is fate, and now it's a crucial time for the fans to decide and the locker room to decide what people they want to be. And then he said, because you're either with us or against us. So then, of course, out come Owens and Joe. KO says Seth should be proud for taking out the Big Show, but Show will be back. Of course, that's exactly what we want to hear, that Big Show's going to be back. Probably does, promote his Netflix show or, to be in the Royal Rumble, because there's rumors that there's not going to be any NXT guys in. So now they got to fill it with losers like the Big Show. And then he said that the biggest problem is that he didn't get rid of them, as in KO and Joe. Then Kevin says less talking, more fighting, and Seth said that they can fight, but not right now. They need proper time, proper place. And Joe said that what he thinks he sees is a messiah, but what he is a lawyered up asshat, and the crowd chants for Joe. Seth said that he is a forgiving man, but the AOP isn't. So if the two of them want to come down and fight, the four of them, then there isn't much he can say besides come on down. And Joe said that clearly Seth can't listen. He said that they want to fight, but they didn't say they were coming alone. So then the Viking Raiders come out, and the four faces rush to the ring. They brawl. Uranagi on Murphy, and then I think it was Akam or Razor. Again, I still can't tell. I still don't know who's who, but KO hit a stunner on one of them, and then the heels retreat. So, decent opening segment. Rollins is good as a heel. I'll give him that. I like Rollins as a heel. Murphy added to the stable. It wasn't bad, because what were you going to do with Buddy Murphy? He lost Aleister Black, 3 times? So there really wasn't much to do with him. We can't keep seeing that feud go on, because Aleister Black can't lose. So that feud is essentially over. So, what do you do with Buddy Murphy? And I'm happy he's not just, becoming, unfortunately, like Matt Hardy and just jobbing out. They're actually doing something with him, taking care of him. So, that I don't mind. But, it's like everything else, like Joe, Owens, they're like, oh, we got to get the Big Show. And then as soon as, that was done, it was like, oh, okay, now where do these guys go? Are they going to challenge for the tag team titles? Are they going to do something? And then you have, the Viking Raiders come out. And as soon as the Viking Raiders came out, you could just tell it's like these guys are losing the belts, because they're such a legit team, but they've become stale on the main roster, like pretty much everything. So it's like, what do you do with them? The only way to spice them up is to make them lose, because they were unstoppable. Now they can maybe chase the belts. They can do something. I just hope that, because, they did lose. Spoiler alert, we'll get into it, but that they did lose, I hope now they don't just become like an OC or Street Profits where they're not even used as a tag team. They're just used as like whatever. You guys can just be VIPs and Titus Catering from now on. So I really hope that they actually take care of these guys that they lost, but they needed to do something to spice it up. So I'm not too against the title change. It was just who it went to and this and that. But we'll get into that when we get there. So then we get highlights of Rey Mysterio and the Andrade storyline, how Dominic convinced Rey not to retire. And then you see the rise of Andrade on Monday Night Raw and how he disrespected Rey, said he's, an awful example to the Latino community. And then Rey's like, I'm an awful example, look at you, blah, blah, blah. The back and forth between them, really good promo, really good stuff. So then we get Rollins and his crew backstage with Charlie. Seth tells her that they are challenging the Viking Raiders for the tag team champions tonight. But it's not AOP, it's him and his newest disciple, Buddy Murphy. So as soon as we got that announcement, that's when I was thinking maybe they're not going to win. But you're not going to have Rollins and Murphy lose, and then the lesser valued by the fans, and I'm sure by WWE, AOP, you're not going to have them win when Rollins and Murphy lost, which to me is bullshit. It should have been AOP challenging. They're an actual tag team, and then it could have been Seth is going to go after, Lesnar again, and Murphy can go after Andrade or Mysterio, whoever would win that tonight. They should be going after all the belts. What are you going to do? Have Akam and Razor hold the United States and the WWE Championship? No, Seth Rollins wants all the belts, which to me is dumb. If he's the Messiah, he's the Savior, he should be sharing the wealth. He should be letting his actual tag team that's in his stable, go up for the tag team belts. But, it is what it is. Like I said, they're trying to take care of Buddy Murphy to show the fans, hey, we care about Buddy Murphy. We're going to let him challenge for gold on, Monday Night Raw. But it's like, yeah, that's the wrong gold. He should be challenging for singles gold, not tag team, when you have a freaking tag team in your group. But again, like I said, the show was not very good. So then we get probably the best part of the show, which honestly should have been the main event, considering what we saw from the rest of the night. Rey Mysterio versus Andrade in a ladder match. And again, this match was great. I don't know how it couldn't have been. Both these guys have such good chemistry together, and even though we've seen them wrestle time and time again, this was a new like spice to the match. It made it different. And it was a fantastic match. So take you through some of this. Rey drop kicks a ladder into Andrade. Andrade slings Rey into the barricade. Rey hits a top rope Hurricane Rana on Andrade, and he lands right on his neck. Andrade does, and then Andrade whips Rey into the corner. Rey ducks the oncoming attack, and Andrade is sent to the outside. Rey dives on Andrade to the outside. Another head scissors on Andrade, or by Andrade onto the ladder. Or by Rey, to Andrade onto the ladder. And then Rey climbs the ladder, but Andrade's able to stop him. And then he hits the Three Amigos onto Rey. The final suplex is on the ladder. And then Andrade powerbombs Rey off the second rope onto the ladder that he has bridged. Between the rope and the ladder, he is like stuck in between the two rungs of the ladder and then on the ropes. And then back from commercial, Andrade goes for the Razor's Edge, but Rey hits a Hurricane Rana. He counters it with a Hurricane Rana. Then Rey climbs the ladder. Andrade climbs up, and Rey tries for a sunset flip powerbomb, but Rey kind of drops him. I think that was a botch, and they both kind of just fall onto the ladder. But to me, it really wasn't bad that he botched it, because it's like both guys are beat to hell. It's like it's fine that he messed up this move, because it just shows like look how tired he is, how beat up he is, and it was brutal because both guys fell and they really hit hard on the ladder. Rey kicks Andrade into the ropes, hits a 619 that sends Andrade flying. Rey climbs the ladders again, and Andrade catches him, tries to pull him down, but Rey counters and sends Andrade to the outside. Zelina climbs the ladder and slaps Rey, so he meets her up atop of the ladder. And then Andrade hits a hammerlock DDT off the ladder through a bridged ladder, and then Andrade climbs the ladder to retain the United States Championship. So, like I said, fantastic match. And then as this thing ends, Zelina, she pulls back the floor pad, tells Andrade to go for the hammerlock DDT. As he goes for it, you see what looks to be a fan. You didn't see if he jumped the barricade or how he came there. But some guy standing there, new Rey Mysterio shirt, which looks legit. I might actually get it. It looks really cool. And then he has a mask on. I thought it was Dominic. I thought it would have been cooler if it was Dominic. takes off the mask, and it's Humberto. So then Humberto and Andrade start going at it. He fights off Andrade and Zelina. They retreat, and then he's there to help Rey Mysterio. So like I just said, fantastic, fantastic match. Some downsides to it. 2 commercial breaks really took me out of it, because when you went to commercial break, you had Andrade, beaten down, and then when you come back, he's in control. So, what did we miss? I don't like when they do commercial breaks during matches like this. They've already done the picture-in-picture before. At least they've done it on NXT. They might not have ever done it on Monday Night Raw, but if you can do it on NXT, you can do it on Raw. They're on the same network. So you could have done something like that, or you could have just had no commercials and then loaded up commercials throughout the rest of the night, because this was really the only thing we wanted to see. So 2 commercial breaks kind of took me out of it. And, of course, there's a couple moments where, Rey is on the ladder and he could have clearly gotten the belt, but it's the dumb, slow baby face. Oh, I got to take forever to climb. I got to take forever to undo the belt. You had the little stuff like that where it's like the timing was off. Maybe Andrade was too slow to get back up, and Rey had to really go slow. Stuff like that. And then Zelina, of course, at the top of the ladder. Like, just slap that bitch and just take that belt. Come on. But, like I said, fantastic match. And then at the ending, I would have rather had it be Dominic than Humberto. But I know they're trying to get Humberto over, and I don't hate him. I just don't have any reason to like him, because you didn't present him in a way that I should like him. Now you're starting to, and now you got to keep with him. Now, if you give up on him after 2 weeks and then try again to get him over in a month, it'll be the same thing. I won't care. You really got to invest your time and stock into this guy, like how they did with Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black. Obviously Aleister Black came in with a lot more fanfare, and probably Buddy Murphy as well. But, if you stick with Humberto, I feel like he'll get over. But you really just got to keep booking him correctly. So then we get a video package for Martin Luther King Day. It was really nice to see. I really like when WWE does this stuff. It's really nice, and just like a wholesome, video package for, everything Martin Luther King stood for, and civil rights and all that stuff, which, it was really great to see. Like I said, it was probably one of the other best things of the show, just because, it's always nice to see when they do stuff like that. Then we get Aleister Black versus a jobber. Again, they didn't not even say this guy's name. And, Black comes down to the ring, does his entrance, ding, 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 bell rings, he charges Black, Black mask done. Pretty much 1 second match besides the 3 count for the cover. What do you want me to say? Aleister Black, I'm not upset with this. I know a lot of people are like, really? Like, how many times do you need to put this guy in enhancement matches? And I get that, but it's the go-home show for the Rumble. You're not going to start a new feud now. If anything, he's going to win the Rumble, I hope. Fingers crossed, I hope he wins. Or you're going to do something where you start the feud in the Rumble, or like the Raw after the Rumble. You're not going to start it right now, and then, you have the Rumble and everything else. So that I'll give him a pass on. Then out comes Lesnar and Heyman again. 2 weeks in a row for Brock Lesnar. That's, it's a new miracle. I know it's past Christmas, but it's like a Christmas miracle to see this guy 2 weeks in a row. So then they come out and they show highlights from last week, everything with R-Truth. Crowd interrupts Heyman like they did last week, but they soon, stop, let Heyman talk. He goes through the usual shtick. My name's Paul Heyman, blah, blah, blah. And then he says that he thinks the entire WWE universe takes Brock Lesnar for granted. And Heyman said how they just expect Brock to do these great things that Heyman predicts because of who he is, Brock Lesnar. Heyman said that the Rumble will start with a beast, and then out will come merely a man. And he said that those mere men will be thrown over the top rope, and that only a beast will remain at the end. And he said that the winner of the Royal Rumble can pick what champion he gets to face at Mania. And he said that Brock, since he's going to win, it's because he doesn't deem any of them worthy to face him in the main event. Not just of WrestleMania, but of any show. So, good promo so far, just cutting up, and he's pretty much saying nobody in the back deserves to be in the main event with him, and I believe that to a certain extent. There's really only 1 or 2 guys who really deserve it, like Aleister Black's one, Drew McIntyre's another, Samoa Joe, but they have so Samoa Joe just came back and he's in this feud. Kevin Owens should be the face of Monday Night Raw, but I can never ever see Vince McMahon putting Kevin Owens over Brock Lesnar. So it's one of those things, who's going to do it? Drew McIntyre, to me, is the number one. So you could have had somebody like him come out, but of course they injected him in this Randy Orton feud, which, isn't bad so far, I'm going to be honest. But, they put him in that storyline, which, he should have been the one to challenge Brock Lesnar. Maybe he will, moving forward, but then out comes Ricochet, the one guy who I am a fan of, but really this guy, against Brock Lesnar, come on. So he comes out and he says how Heyman talks a lot, and he said that some of the guys in the back are afraid to step in the ring with Lesnar, but not him. So he challenges Brock. He's like, I'll challenge you to a fight right now. Brock and Heyman just look at this guy like, are you kidding me? They walk out of the ring and leave. Ricochet, he's like, what, are you scared? Lesnar comes back in, kicks him in the balls, drops him. As Ricochet's laying there, Brock bends over and says, not scared. And they walk off. So, you know what I mean? Like, what did he just do to Ricochet? Like I said last week, he got a good win. I think it was over Mojo Rawley. And it's like, oh, okay, we're building up the steam for Ricochet again, like maybe third time's a charm. Now he comes out and gets kicked in the dick by Lesnar. You're like, send this guy back down to NXT, please. Do something with him if you're not going to do, if this is how you're going to treat him, because this is ridiculous. Like I said, why send him out? There's so many other guys you could have sent out. I'd rather see, R-Truth again, to be honest. I know it would have been like, oh, WWE, they find one thing we like and they just beat it into the ground, but I would have rather seen that than, poor Ricochet getting screwed over. So then we get Charlie. She's backstage with Randy Orton. She asks him about his match with McIntyre tonight. And of course, same basic thing. Orton, oh, blah, blah, blah. He's not ready for the 3 most dangerous letters in WWE, RKO. Just a boring promo. But thank God the match was a lot better than that little backstage interaction. So then we get Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. So this match started with some back and forth early on with some collar and elbow tie-ups, headlocks, basic stuff like that. Till Drew hits a real big chop on Orton, disorients him, and then Orton clotheslines Drew over to the top rope, and he hits some back suplexes on Drew onto the barricade. Drew sends Orton into the ring post, and then he tries for a Claymore kick, but Orton moves out of the way. Drew pretty much, kills the timekeeper. And then back in the ring, some more exchanges of chops. Orton hits a draping DDT, and then he tries for the RKO, but McIntyre counters with the Glasgow kiss, and then a belly-to-belly suplex. Orton counters a Claymore kick into a power slam for a near fall. Superplex by Orton leaves both men down, and the OC, they come down, and they start beating everybody down, so the match ends in a DQ, obviously no contest. Then Orton beats them down and chases them off with a steel chair until it's only him and McIntyre. And as both men, kind of walking away because it's like, well, this match is over, now what? So they're walking away. Orton hits the RKO, and then Drew's laying there in the corner selling, the neck injury. And he says how Randy may have gotten him here. But unlike Randy's RKO, his Claymore kick doesn't come out of nowhere, and he will see it coming as it knocks off his damn head as he main events WrestleMania and wins the Royal Rumble and main events WrestleMania. So, like I said, it was a decent match. I'm a fan of this new babyface Drew McIntyre. I think it's what it was needed. He wasn't getting over as a heel, not on his own accord because WWE was booking him like shit. Big surprise. But, they did the character change with him. He has the new thing. He talks to the crowd for the Claymore kick, the 3, 2, 1. Just little things like that. It's getting him over. And, he's my number one pick to win the Royal Rumble for who I want. Now, we did, it's probably going to be somebody like Roman Reigns. They're going to give us that kind of bullshit that nobody wants to see. There's Kane Velasquez. There's all these guys who it could be. But, for Monday Night Raw side, Drew McIntyre is my pick. So then we get Becky Lynch. She comes out and, she's wrestling Kairi Sane. But, of course, beforehand, she cuts a promo on Asuka. And she said Asuka did her a favor by, attacking her and just pretty much awakening this side in Becky because she was scared. But now, she's not scared now. She's angry, she's frustrated, and she's willing to fight. And she said that maybe Asuka is the one who's doubting herself, and that's why she has to use these cheap tricks and dirty tactics like Green Mist. And she said that Asuka may have beaten her last year at the Rumble, but Becky was the real winner. Because look at everything Becky did. And what did Asuka do? She went on YouTube and made soup. Asuka has a YouTube channel. She makes some food, plays video games, stuff like that. So then Becky said that she's going to repay this one last debt. So then we get Becky Lynch versus Kairi Sane, like I said, and the whole time Asuka was just sitting in the corner on the top rope while these two were fighting, which I didn't really care for, like that it was there, because I didn't care for this match. Because you know, what are you going to do? Have Becky Lynch lose? Oh no, you're going to have a returning Kairi Sane who is unhappy and wants to be out of this company. That's who you're going to have lose, which to me it is so stupid, because it's like, you know, you're pretty much telling her, like, you know, go ahead, leave. And she's one of the most talented women that you have in this division. So, you know, I didn't care for this match, but otherwise it's like, why is Asuka sitting in the corner? The ref should be like, hey, get out of here. But like I said, this match literally meant nothing. So, take it through some of the spots. Kairi, she of course does the butt slap, taunts Becky. Becky hits a huge, like, throat punch, chin punch, whatever. Knocks Kairi out of the ring. Then Asuka distracts Becky. Kairi gets the upper hand. And then both women back in the ring, exchanging some strikes. Kairi hits a top rope forearm strike. Becky hits an inverted DDT, followed by a leg drop. Kylie breaks free from the disarmer, and then Sane counters a suplex with the DDT. Becky punches Asuka, who, like I said, was sitting up on the top rope, and then Becky hits an exploder suplex and then an armbar for the win. Not a very long match. Kairi got barely any offense in. So, like I said, Kairi looks like a loser. Unfortunately, see you later. Like, at this point, I want her to go to Stardom or, you know, wherever she's going to go wrestle, to at least be presented in a legitimate way. So then after the match, Asuka hits a Shining Wizard, and then the Asuka lock on Becky. So, of course, you know, she gets the upper hand here. Normal WWE booking. When the heel stands tall at the go-home show, that means the babyface is going to win. Did any of us expect Becky to lose at the Rumble? No. Then we get a tribute video for Rocky Johnson. Again, nice. You know, tribute video. When AEW, they just kind of honored him, but I didn't expect them to go into it the way WWE did. So that was a nice video that they had showing all his accomplishments and everything. Then backstage, Asuka's asked if this is the type of champion she wants to be, the type to cheat and use dirty, cheap tricks. And she yells in Japanese, and then she says, at the Royal Rumble, Becky is not ready for Asuka. You know what? I don't think WWE was ready for Asuka. I think the only people who were Triple H and his team in NXT. You know, they bring you up to the main roster, and what do you get? You have a title win last year, and then you lose it, the following pay-per-view? So, or not even last year at the Royal Rumble. You won the title, and then you couldn't even take it to WrestleMania, because of course it had to be for their fucking bimbo Queen Charlotte. So then we get Rollins and Murphy versus the Viking Raiders. So, should be AOP versus the Viking Raiders, but here we are, Monday Night Raw. The land of, you know, the Monday Night Messiah, and Vince McMahon and Paul Heyman and their awful booking. I gave them credit, you know, last week. You know, that was my mistake. I should have just shit on them. Maybe the show would have been better this week. So then KO and Joe, they attack the AOP, and then they fight into the crowd. So that just takes out, you know, the other four guys. So now it's just a legit 2-on-2 match. Rollins and Murphy, they start to work over Eric until he sends both heels to the outside. They pull down Ivar to prevent the tag. Super kick, knee strike, and a suplex combo by Murphy. Rollins tags in, and I don't even see what move he hit, if he hit anything, or if he just went for the cover, but it was a 2 count. And he wasn't happy with that, so he tags Murphy right back in, and he eventually eats a huge knee strike from Eric. Ivar gets the tag, takes out Rollins and Murphy. He tags in, and Eric and they go for the Viking Experience, and Rollins breaks it up before they can hit the move. Then the Raiders, they do a tandem dive to the outside, taking out both the heels. Viking Experience hit this time on Murphy, but Rollins breaks it up before they get the pin. Ivar goes for a double power bomb, or Ivar gets double power bombed by Murphy and Rollins for a near fall. Then Ivar hits his handspring double back elbow, tags in Eric, and then he power bombs Murphy. Rollins sends Ivar down from the top rope, and he hits hard on the apron than the floor. And then then Murphy hits a huge knee on Eric, and then he's kind of like draped through the ropes, almost like set up for a 619. Murphy then distracts the ref. Rollins hits a stomp onto Eric, who has, like I said, the ref had his back turned. And then Murphy, you know, pins him for the 1-2-3, and they're the new tag team champions. what do you want me to say? Like I said, the Viking Raiders, they needed to lose to spice up their characters and for a change. But this should have been to the AOP, and this could have been a match at the Royal Rumble. You could have made this something special. Let's actually see the AOP wrestle in a legit tag match against a legit team. You have 4 huge dudes colliding. It's what we all would want to see at the Royal Rumble. Instead, we get Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy winning here. Not a good choice in my opinion. I want to see what they do from here, but I'm not excited. To me, you took the wind out of the sails from the storyline, because now what do you do with the Viking Raiders? Are they going to challenge Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy again? No, to me this is setting up Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe taking the belts from them probably at WrestleMania. But it's like, then what do you do with the Viking Raiders? What do you do with AOP? What do you do with the legit tag teams in your division? You're not going to do anything with them. And you just take single stars, put them together, and you're like, yep, that's a tag team. When you have all these other tag teams that you could legitimately do something with. But, we get what we get. And then backstage, Rollins says this is what happens when you join with him. And on Sunday, he will also win the Royal Rumble. And, him and Murphy go off to celebrate. So speaking of not knowing how to use legit tag teams, then we get Dawkins and Ford. They're doing their news, like the weekend news after the weekend, or whatever the hell this stupid segment's called. And they just go through some stuff. They're making fun of Paul Heyman, and they're making fun of Miz and Morrison. They say how they hate reboots. That all Hollywood knows how to do is make reboots. And then it shows a picture of Miz and Morrison, and then Dawkins is like, never mind, I like reboots. So he's saying he's a fan of the Miz and Morrison coming back. And then it cuts to R-Truth, because they said, he's in Houston, so let's, hear about the Rumble. And clearly it's just some picture of the Astrodome, or, whatever that baseball stadium is in Houston. And it's clear, like I said, he's clearly not there. It's just like a picture. He's at a green screen, and he's talking about Houston, not the actual Royal Rumble. And they're like, what are you talking about? And he's like, oh, I thought you guys told me to talk about Houston. And they were like, no, we want you to talk about the Royal Rumble in Houston. And then Dawkins says that, Brock Lesnar is going to enter at number 1, but he thinks Truth is going to enter at 420. So then it cuts to Ford and zooms in on his face, and he's like, he's all shocked, and it's all, jokey. So that was kind of funny. And then they show Otis dancing, and they're like, hey, Mandy, he's like, a few Netflix and chill with my boy Otis. This is pretty much what you're going to get. And then it's Otis, where he's doing the belly dance, and how they changed his gear, how he just wears the black trunks, and, he's just shaking, gyrating, and all that stuff. And like I said, there's some points in this where it's like, it's kind of funny, makes me laugh, makes me smile a little bit. But it's like, really, this isn't what we need. This isn't what we want to see from these guys. There's 2 guys that are super legit as a tag team, and this is what they get stuck to. Like, oh, you're just comedy. Is that all Vince McMahon season these guys, comedy? Which, if he does, please, like Ricochet, send them down to NXT. And you got to think, Vince McMahon doesn't want to use these guys to their potential. Look at their skin color. And you just had a fucking Martin Luther King segment, and then this is what you want to do. So, ridiculous. So then we get Matt Hardy. He comes down, and it's like, oh, who's he going against? Is he going to actually get a win here? Are they going to do something with him? No. He goes against Eric Rowan. So Iron Claw and Dunn, what he tried to show Matt Hardy what was in the cage. Hardy tried to fight back, hit some offense, but of course just Iron Claw done. Again, same thing with Matt Hardy. I've been saying for weeks, this guy, he's going to AEW. He's the supreme leader in the Dark Order, and, I really hope the best for this guy. So then Sarah, she interviews Joe and KO, and they said that they'll deal with the tag belts later, and that they said on the matter of Murphy and Seth being in the Rumble, so Kevin says, so am I. And then Joe said that, when it comes to Rollins, him and Kevin are in the same, they're on the same team. Like, they want to take down Rollins, AOP, Murphy. He's like, but if we come face to face in the Royal Rumble, I'm going to be eliminating you. Then all bets are off. So they kind of have that where it's like, hey, we're friends, but, everybody wants to win the Royal Rumble. It's every man for himself, like they always say. So, decent little backstage segment. Then Mojo's interviewed by Charlie, and he said for too long this title has been defended by cowards, the 24/7 championship, because you probably forgot he won it. I did. He got his ass kicked by Ricochet, and then he wins the 24/7 championship, but that just shows what they think of this belt. It's made for losers. So he said he's going to defend it and not be, the cowardly champion who just runs away like R-Truth and everyone else who's held it before. Out come the Singh brothers. They try to dance. He just beats the shit out of them and walks away. And then the ref, who of course was there to kind of make the pinfall once they covered Raleigh, he's like, "Oh, are you guys okay?" I hope they're not okay, because nobody cares about these losers. So now, here it is, folks. The main event. Was it Andrade and Rey Mysterio? Of course not. That was the first match. Was it the tag team match for the belts? Of course not. Why would you put a championship match in the main event? Where are we living? In a land that makes sense? No. You're going to put this fucking garbage Bobby Lashley Lana mixed tag match in the main event. So let's get through this, because I'm sick of talking about this show. So Lana comes out with Lashley and says how Rusev Day is canceled. Of course, the crowd immediately fires back with Rusev Day chants. The crowd boos her as she's talking. She yells at them, says how they're all bottom feeders and jealous and envious of them. And she said how they have to deal with the ugliness of the crowd, and all they want is a thank you from them, for gracing them with everything that they've done. She's like, say thank you, Bobby, thank you, Lana. And she says tonight, Bobby will beat her stupid ex-husband, and she's going to get her hands on Liv Morgan. So then, obviously out come Rusev and Liv. So Morgan, she goes right after Lana, running around the ring to catch her. Lana catches her by surprise with a kick, but Liv comes back with some drop kicks. Lashley distracts Liv so Lana can come back with some slaps, because Lana's offense is awful. I shit on Brandy Rhodes, but Lana is worse. Lana's worse than Alexa Bliss. She's literally the worst. Like I said, Lashley distracts her. Then Liv tags in Rusev, so Lashley comes in. The two fight. Lana gets a cheap shot on Rusev, allowing Lashley to hit the spear, and done. That was your main event. And I made it sound a lot better than what we actually saw on TV, believe me, folks. So, what do you want me to say? I'm sick of this. The mixed tag should have been the blow off. The only thing I think you can do now to blow this off is loser leaves WWE. And then, I don't have Rusev lose. I don't even care. Just end his storyline. Because nobody cares. The only person who cares is Vince McMahon. Like, he sees these millions and millions of views that these clips get on YouTube, but if all you have to watch is a 3-second clip, and they just show shots of Lana and Liv Morgan's ass, then that's all people are going to care about. Nobody's going to care about the actual storyline, because they're not having to sit here and watch the actual show. You can't compare your YouTube views to the ratings you get for your actual show for who's tuning in, because the ratings are down and the YouTube views are probably up, and that doesn't mean a good show. And like I said, the show, it was tolerable last week. It was going in the right direction. We had some funny segments, we had serious segments, and we had great wrestling. I mean, it was obviously sprinkled in. There was Lana bullshit, like always. It wasn't a perfect show last week by any means. But this show went in the complete opposite direction. For a go-home show, really, really disappointed. But, we do have the Royal Rumble, and it's hard to mess up the Royal Rumble. There's usually some good spots. Now, if Roman wins, then then I'll watch this Monday Night Raw 2 times in a row, and then watch the Royal Rumble if you're going to have Roman Reigns or Cain Velasquez win. But, it is what it is. I don't think SmackDown's going to be any better, so thank God we have, tomorrow night, Wednesday, 4 hours of great wrestling to look forward to like every week. But that was the review of Monday Night Raw, guys. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. Follow us on all our social media. We have it listed right here on the screen. Check us out. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe if you're new. And, please, we always appreciate, any comments, feedback, anything like that we get. So, thank you so much, and have a great day. And I do have the Loot Crate for January is here. The theme is Canada, so we're going to be going into that real soon. And again, look forward to so much stuff. We have previews and predictions coming up for the Royal Rumble itself, Worlds Collide, lots of stuff this weekend. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Adaaaaaa.